Welcome to Attican Plays Railway Empire. Welcome to another Railway Empire video. This is Attican, and we're going to continue our warehouse series with episode 2. And in episode 2, we're going to attempt to construct what I would think of as the quote ideal unquote warehouse and two-city cluster setup. We're going to go back to our little nice flat spot up here around Toledo to do this.
Together, we shall conquer them all.
Doesn't matter who we use, we'll use the general this time. Okay, so we're going to, as I said, put together the ideal scenario. So again, as we've said before, we're looking for, of course, the meat to beer combo. And I'm going to try my best not to repeat all the things that I said in episode 1, because you can go out and watch that and learn about what you need to know there. But here comes, this is our ideal one. We're going to run our line between the two cities on this, specifically on this third platform. And that looks pretty good. And we're going to double track that line. Okay. We're going to put in our towers about a block out and do our signal on that end, and go down here to the other end, put in our tower, supply tower, about a block out. Put in our one-way signal. Then use our handy-dandy tool to put in our interim signals. There we go. And then we're going to set up a passenger-only line between the two cities. And we're going to explicitly tell them, this is important, that they run from track 3 to track 3. Passenger only. And let's just run Philadelphia's for everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to set up, that moves our passengers back and forth, but we need to move freight. So we're going to take this other internal line, which would be track 2 or platform 2, run it all the way up and down, like so. Double track it with a point-to-point connection, just as we did on the other side, other lane. And we're going to give it signals. Set our directional signals. And then set our interim signals, holding the control key. Okay, now we've got another line. Now, this one's probably even more important, because if you look at these, this is probably the closer trip. So we're going to set up a line between here and here for freight only. And we're going to explicitly tell it to go from track 2 to track 2. And let's go ahead, let's run actual freight. We're going to run the Dragon, which is an actual freight train on that end. And because this is a long route, I'm only going to start 2 trains to begin with. I'm going to set up the line coming back the other way for freight only, track 2 to track 2, and go. Now we have the ability to exchange goods between the two cities in our little network here, our little two-city cluster. Now we're going to build our warehouse. We're going to put it similar to the way we did in the first episode, here in a nice location. And we're going to stub out the ends just as we did. Whoops. And put in a supply tower. If it'll fit, I didn't make my lines need to be a little bit longer. Come on, cooperate. Okay, that line is not long enough. Is there any chance that that will work? No, it won't. All right, I'm going to get angry. Okay, we're going to stub out our lines so that we can put in a supply tower. Okay. Now we're going to run a line. Into Toledo from the warehouse. Oops. I'm going to double track it all the way. What happened here? Double track it. Set up our signals. Set up the directional signals first. And then do our interim signals. Okay. Now we've got the line to the warehouse. Now we're going to go back on the other side and do the same process. Stub it out. Put in our supply tower, then run our line, and I could probably skip that guy right there. We're not going to use that one because we're going to use this line, track 4 from the warehouse to go to Toledo. We'll use track 3, this one, to go to Grand Rapids. And hook in Grand Rapids. And double track it all the way back. Pardon me. Set our directional signals. And pardon me, and check to make sure we're passing a supply tower. We certainly are, twice. And let's put in our interim signals. Good deal. Now we have a line running to Grand Rapids. Now we're going to set up. Now there would be no reason to have that line running now because we're already taking care of freight, we're already taking care of passengers. So what are we going to put in our warehouse? We are going to put, we'll set repairs on it. That reminds me, let's put repairs on our stations here too. Now remember I told you this is going to be ideal, so that repairs thing, if I remember it, we're going to change that in a minute. But to start out, you would set repairs here because you're going to have all these lines coming in. You don't want to be paying the money to set them up. But eventually you would change it, and we've talked about it in the other one, but we'll do it again here. So we're going to put, oh, I forgot. Here's what we're going to put in our warehouse. We're going to put wheat. We won't put cattle. We've already talked about that. We'll put corn. We'll put logs. We'll not put these because they're already taken care of. We're going to put sugar, no, milk, yes, and veggies, yes. We're going to max it out. And we're going to build those stations in as quickly as we can. And I'm going to start this time. I'd like those to come in from separate sides. Yeah, I would. Okay. We'll have it come in. They're both going to use this one, but it's going to come in from a different side each time. In fact, let's get rid of that little excess and run it like this. We'll get our funky looking little line. Okay. And we're going to double track that, even though it's a short line. Set our signals, our directional signals. See if there's any space for an interim signal. There is. All right, and we'll run a couple of trains in there. Now we're going to come in from the other side with our wheat. Double track that. And I'm, okay. Pardon me, put in the signals, directional signals. Make sure it's getting supplies, which we know it is. And then we'll put in our interim signals. And we'll set up a line. Loading wheat into this warehouse, run full. And go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you were doing this in reality, you might not be able to afford 4 trains right off the bat. You might run a couple and then add a couple later on. We want veggies. So they can come over here and hook in with, whoops, they can come over here and join up with that line, or they could come in here and go straight in. If they'll fit. That is the question. Will they fit? And yes, they will. And we will double track this one back. It's going through a supply tower, so we'll put in our interim signals. We'll set up our line. One, two, three. Okay. And shame on us, we haven't done the one we really want to get wheat and cattle, probably 1 and 2 in this. So we'll run cattle from down here, and we will run it directly into our system, like so, rather than through a warehouse. Now this one will need a supply tower. Put one out there, we may be able to reuse it later, or use it for a different line as well. Maybe not. Who knows? Actually, I don't think we will, but good, reasonable idea. Okay, put in our directional signals and put in our interim signals and run our line. Always full. Okay, we're missing corn for our warehouse. We'll take corn and run it into this one. Beautiful. We'll double track it and run. All right, let's run 3 trains for it too. We will set up our directional signals. It's going through a supply tower, so we should be good to go. One, and this is a long line. Let's run 4. Overkill probably, but we don't care at this point. Now we need sugar and milk to complete the program, so to speak. So our sugar is going to go run around and then loop in. So our sugar can come from here. Oh no, are we doing sugar? Yes, we are. Now, why wouldn't I run the sugar straight in on this line? Because that line only goes to Toledo. And we don't want to run it through Toledo to the other one. We could. Well, we actually couldn't because that line isn't connected. Or is it? No, that line isn't even connected. We'd have to build another line up here to do it. And besides, we want it in our warehouse where the natural management of the resources is going to balance our loads out for us as we start to carry stuff back and forth. And I'll talk about the order I'm building this stuff in just a minute. Okay, so we've got a double track. And we'll give it directions. That's a pretty long track. Let's put another tower, and in fact, let's put a tower like right in here, so that the corn can use it, and also the last one we're going to run, which is milk. So let's set up a line here, going from here to here. Run full. Add a locomotive. 1, 2, 3, and I'm overkilling. And again, I'll talk about the order of all this in a minute. This is like, it's not always just the ideal scenario setup, it's the ideal scenario because I've just got all the money I want, so no problemos here. All right, this guy can actually go down here. We don't need to spend all that money. He can go down and intersect with our sugar line that's going in to the warehouse, like so. So we intersect with the first one, we cross over, and we check our signals to see what damage we have done. I don't think I put interim signals on this one at all, did I? I did not. Let's fix that. And they're wrong because oh shoot. Now that was stupid. I should have put these on. You put these directional signals and your interim signal before you start merging lines in, so that you have all your lines running the right way. You want your lines running correctly and specifically correctly when you oh, what have I done here? Sorry, can't drive. All right, there's they're coming back. Okay, that's repaired the damage. But if you look at all these guys, they're really kind of worthless. They wouldn't hurt us actually, but they're not going to help us. They're not going to help these trains keep going. But now they will, once I flip them around the way they belong. So again, well, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this out loud to teach myself. Lay your track, double your track, set your directional signals, make sure you've got supplies, and then do your interim signals. And then after you're done with that, then you can move on. So now we've got all this working correctly. We've got our merger correct, and it's crossing over as it should. And we're going to double track it back. And we lay our track, we double our track, then we set our directional signals on each end. We check to see if we're getting supplies, we are, and then we do our interim signals with the control key. Now that looks better. Now we set up milk to go to the warehouse, and it says it can't get to the warehouse. So that means we've got something wrong in our signaling. Let's do some problem solving. We come down, we come down, we come down, we cross over. Ah, the classic. I never make a video without failing this at least once. I didn't complete this connection. So we'll delete a segment of the track and finish off that connection. I do that every time. And put our directional signal back in here. Okay, everything looks like it's working. Now let's see if we can deliver milk. Grab milk, be full. And go to our warehouse. Thank you very much. Get me a stoker. 1, 2. Okay, now we've got 6 items going into that warehouse, and nothing's happening with our cities. Why? We've got to build 2 more lines. We have to line from here to here. That's 1, 2, and I'm going to set up 5 trains right off the bat. 4, 5. Now we have to set up in line from warehouse to Toledo. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now, folks, okay, cotton just popped up, good. So now we have cotton need, and we can run cotton. Cotton is the other one we run directly. We run cattle and cotton directly where it's needed in our cluster. This is perfect so far. It's going to go in there. Let's see if we can get it back here and get that supply tower. We can. That's an unnecessarily long line. We'll run it like that. All right, so what do? We build our line. We do our double tracking. We check to see if we've gotten supplies. We have not, so we're going to have to put in a supply tower. We set our directional signals. And then we do our interim signals. And that line is beautiful and ready to go. And we run cotton. Get out of the way. One. Two. What did I just run? I don't know what. Oh yeah, it is a dragon. 125,000. My goodness. 3. All right, so now, honestly, we're pretty much done. I want to run more trains. See, these guys are stacking up waiting. That's cool. And we probably want to increase these. And put another one on each end. Now let's put some more. And the only thing we've got wrong right now is that we've got this Philadelphia line. Well, that's all right. They're all express, but they're Philadelphia's. It's interesting. I would have thought they would have needed to have been a higher level. But we could probably, let's replace those guys. In an ideal world, you would replace those trains with a good express train. And actually, there really isn't one for this time period. We've already got, that's about as good as you can get. So now look at our 2 cities starting to grow. And I think they're going to grow like crazy, like wildfire. 78% satisfaction in Toledo. Grand Rapids, 86%. So now, basically we're done. Because we're not tying up spots in the warehouse with any goods, we can exchange 6 key items here. So we've got wheat, corn, logs, sugar, milk, and vegetables coming in there to feed our 2 cities. We've got cattle coming in to feed our textile industry. We've got, cattle coming in to feed our meat industry. We've got cotton coming in to feed our textile industry. We're done. That's going to be it. And what should happen here is we should see industries pop up, and we should really be building them ourselves when we can. But we'll see these cities grow like crazy. And they should be just constantly well supplied. I mean, just beautifully supplied. and we should be actually making pretty good money. What are we doing? We're at 283, and we're just in May of our first year. Now, of course, you couldn't possibly build like this in a real scenario. So let me talk about that. What you would do in a real scenario is you build your express line. Depending upon how tight your money was, you might have to throw your freight onto that line with it to start until you have enough money to get your warehouse. When you get your warehouse, you'd bring an item in and then you'd need 3 lines, an item coming in, a line going to one city and a line going to the other city, and maybe a train on each one to get going. And you would slowly build that up, and you would slowly introduce another one as you got money, and introduce another one. And I would introduce them as like this: wheat, then cattle, then logs, then corn. Then you'd look to see if you get textiles. When you get that, then cotton. Then you would add sugar and milk later on, and veggies last. And that would give you kind of lined up with the way these cities grow. And let's just see, like this guy probably 96% satisfaction. That's fairly good. And see, he doesn't even need veggies yet. And he's low on corn. Are we getting enough corn into our system? And now what you do is worry about your balancing. So corn is really low. They probably just wandered off with all of it, but we could also run another train and keep that corn coming. And what will happen is these farms out here will automatically adjust, and they'll go up. See, he's already leveled up to level 2 because it calculates how much demand there is and how much capacity there is for moving goods, and it'll automatically adjust for you. And then what we can do to even make this growth, we can manipulate this growth. There's nothing to manipulate. When you have this good a system, it'll just grow. And then when they hit 60, we'll throw in a museum, and then, boom, it'll just grow like crazy. So both of these cities are going to grow beautifully, and that is what I would think of as an ideal warehouse and 2-city cluster with 2 cities that are just fueled to grow, because whatever they need, these little trains right here that are lined up waiting will come in here, grab it, and take it back. And in fact, our only problem right now is keeping enough goods in that warehouse. That's the only problem we're having right now. And you can see we're picking them up as fast as we can. We actually have backlog here. So what you would do if you had the money, you would start buying things, like you would buy the farms and cause them to boost their stuff. But there's really no need. Look at this. We're at 92% satisfaction in Toledo. In Grand Rapids, we are at 74% satisfaction. That's actually kind of low. Now, what I was going to say about how you can manipulate the growth, the demand, is by actually bumping this up. But what you want to do, now let's talk about, since we've covered this and we're really done. Honestly, we're done. This just runs, and in fact, I could fast forward it and show you when they both hit, like 90 or 100,000 or whatever. But let's look at the demand. So we've got a brewery here that's capable right now of producing 1.6 beer a week. We've got a city here that demands 0.6 beer a week. We've got a city over here. See, Toledo just grew. We're going to give it a museum. Now Toledo's at 92% satisfaction. Now Toledo demands beer, and it wants 1.1. So what we've got, that's about 2. So you can see the industry is kind of matching the overall demand of the system. And if you look at our freight trains, what are they called? No, that's not it. Where's our freight trains? Did they skip on me? They couldn't have. Where are my freight trains? Oh, these are the freight trains. Sorry. See, they're not carrying a bunch. We've got a little overkill on our freight trains right now. When the cities get bigger, so that's a good point. We just don't need to carry that much freight back and forth. Now, why is that? Because these cities will produce a good, but it will consume half the good itself. The other only half the good needs to be shipped to the other city. And you'll notice here too, it just is well, he's up to 82 now, so I wouldn't say that. Started to say that the growth in Toledo's really outpacing Grand Rapids, but look at this, 96%. We got a 60,000 city with 97% demand satisfaction, and we're not doing anything. We're not even manipulating. Oh, we've even got a screw up here. What have we done wrong? We didn't put in our interim signals right there, and we didn't have enough blocks set up for all those trains. So even with that screw up where these trains, I don't know how long they sat there being held up, keeping us from getting stuff into our warehouse, but hopefully that'll correct itself very soon. And this is why, by the way, I strongly prefer having really dedicated lines. I avoid mergers. I did some mergers just to show you how you could do them, but I really, as a rule, I don't like mergers at all. I prefer to have I would rather have 3 sets of lines running in here and then maybe they all come together at the end or something rather than what we have. But that's okay. So they're starting to get through, they're starting to stack up, they'll run in there and they'll do their thing and load that warehouse when they have the opportunity. And I wonder what is keeping us. No, it all should be working fine. And it all is working fine. By the way, if you're a train spotter or a train watcher, the warehouse is right here is where you want to go. I mean, look at all this. Look at this. We got trains everywhere. And it looks like somebody grew. All right, we're going to take this opportunity to build, and we're going to build what I think is the perfect 4th business, which is a textile plant. Now, we own the clothing industry. Now, why clothing? Because we're already got the textiles here. We create demand for the textiles. We increase the demand for textiles. Most cities need textiles, but now we've increased the demand for the textiles for here. So that means that this guy is going to be able to produce more and ship it over here, which is going to give us more freight to ship, which is going to give us more freight profit, and we're going to increase and keep up the demand over here because he's going to get satisfaction by getting textiles. And let's just see. And we are running too many freight trains because we're actually getting they're running very, very light loads. So I could probably, making sure I get the right ones, this guy right here. 2, 3. Yeah. We could probably dump a couple of these, but it's no matter. So let's see how we're doing with our tailor. Our tailor is making us $5,000 a week because he's making clothing and shipping it off to Toledo. Toledo's making money on the other end and shipping textiles back to us. And in a really ideal scenario, we would start buying these industries, owning them ourselves, and just be making ridiculous amounts of money. So let's see where we are. We're at 77%. We're at 91% satisfaction in Toledo. It'd be hard pressed to build it any faster than that because you literally cannot get a line efficient enough to go any faster than that. I mean, it'd be really hard to do. Let's just say that. We're getting great satisfaction here. Now, the reason that we're getting better satisfaction in Toledo is because it so happened that Toledo got both the cotton or the meat and the textiles. I think you really, if you look, and we do have the wheat coming in here, so that's a good thing, but they don't have a direct pump because we need the wheat down here too. So the 2 direct lines are both coming into Toledo. So if we look at the meat, you see it's getting all at once, all the time. Weaving all at once, all the time. So that really helps it keep its growth up. But it doesn't matter. I mean, these guys are growing like crazy. So let's just run it until it gets up to, let's call it until we have 3 businesses in each one. That would be a good place to stop. And what would be the other businesses we want? We've got lumber. right? So we're going to want a lumber mill in this chain, and we're going to want a dairy because we have milk. Now, what we don't have, and this is a decision you have to make, we've got sugar, but we don't have fruit. So we can't. The distillery would be a bad choice here. And if we want to get alcohol, that's our next video. We're going to talk about regional, where we might want to go get alcohol elsewhere. But as it is, we're going to get it from. We're going to do a dairy. So our 6 businesses that we're going to want to end up with, and we don't really care which one of these sides gets which, but we're going to add a milk and a sawmill into this chain. And we're going to have 6 products that are moving back and forth: lumber, milk, meat, beer, cloth, and clothing. And our cities are just going to be happy as they can be. 83%, there we go. 93%. See, the tailor is happy, the brewer is happy, everybody's happy. So we've got stuff going in and out like crazy. And our biggest slowdown is right here. Look at this. We've got goods just, oh, there's a problem. Aha. There has to be a problem right here. I'll be. No wonder that's slow. God, this could be even better if I wasn't such an idiot. We have messed up. I have messed up these signals right here. Oh my goodness. This whole thing. I have messed up when I did that merge. Probably got something out of order. I'll have to go back and watch this and see how I screwed it up. Watch this. I'll bet you they start moving much faster out. I bet you this pile goes away. Now they're saying we cannot be reached. I have screwed this up. This is why I hate more. Oh my God. I didn't follow my own process. Oh my God. All right. That just shows you. You've got to slow down and follow your own process. Now look at this. Now watch this stuff. These things are just going to come piling in here one after another, fast as they can be. Oh, which raises. We said ideal. Ideal. Here's what we do. That maintenance in the warehouse goes away. If we have the money, we set the maintenance on all of our lines out here. Now that costs a lot more money, but if you've got the money, do this. Now, why would we do this? We do this because we don't want a pile up in there. We don't want maintenance being done, broken machines being fixed in that warehouse and keeping multiple trains from going in. Now, if we set all the maintenance back here, there's still going to be a delay on this one back here, but it's only delaying its line. It's not messing up every line that's out there. So we're going to demolish our maintenance building, and now we should see even better throughput because all our maintenance is going to be done out in the field, so to speak. But when you start, you want to do it here because, one, it's one place where they all come to, and 2, it's only 80 grand versus 6 times 80, which is 480,000 to do it out in the field. But watch these guys now. We're getting steady flow of stuff coming in here. We got lots of trains running, but it is running steadily. So and I overkilled the trains a little bit too. But we've got a steady supply of everything you can think of coming in here. And see, look, we're starting to get better numbers here. We're starting to get ahead. In fact, the logs will get to the point where they will fill up. There we go. They're not going to run again until one of these guys from the cities takes some of the logs out. And how are we doing still? Oh, we've got a slot going here. What do we want to put in it? We want to slow down a minute. Okay, we can put lumber would be great. Let's put lumber. Put a sawmill in Toledo. Okay, we've got. Oh wait, what happened? Well, it beat me to it and put a distillery, and that Oh, I hit the wrong thing. I did not mean to do that, and I don't want that because we don't have the fruit. We could support this, by the way. All I'd have to do is run fruit in there, and it'd be really easy to do. But I want to stick with what I think of as the ideal setup, which is a sawmill. Could have sworn I hit a sawmill. Okay, and as soon as Grand Rapids gets big enough, we're going to do milk up there. Oh, look at this. We can put our museum in. So Grand Rapids will grow. And you notice I'm sorry, I've just been paying attention to this. I mean, we've got all this staff we could be hiring and all this stuff. But, oh, I guess the only thing I would say for this, your security guards need to go on these lines that are running your freight, because they give you bonuses for freight. And you don't want them anywhere else, because you don't want security guards on your lines running into the warehouses, because they don't get paid. Okay, they're just taking stuff in. The only one that gets paid on that are these lines here. You see, they're making really good money. Now, why are they making so much? They're just running this little short line. We talked about this in the other one. They're getting paid for that trip plus whatever these guys did. So they're getting, like if they're having to run corn, they're getting paid for that entire corn run into the city, which is a long run. So you make your money, in this case, shuttling the goods back and forth that are manufactured, and then shuttling the raw materials to the cities out of the warehouse. So I hope you can see how all that works. You can see they're still growing. We've only had a couple of times there. We've hit 100,000 in Toledo. It's got 3 businesses. It's looking awesome. Grand Rapids is still getting super good demand satisfaction. It's over 70,000. So we'll just let this keep on running until we get up to 3 businesses in that. And once we have a dairy going there, we'll declare that success. And we could also look at this and see our tailor is making us again $5,000, pretty consistent $5,000 a week, because at the least he's selling. I think they take clothing here, don't they? Yeah, at the least he's selling off 0.7 of a unit a week in his own city, and then he's also shipping stuff to Toledo, which again, and we're about a year and a half in. Now this is much faster than we would do it if we had the usual money constraints, and I usually start with the lowest possible money and all that. So obviously this is sped up, but the theory is still the same. And if you'll notice, I'm talking a lot. I'm not doing anything. Now why am I not doing anything? Because finally, after I got this mess cleaned up, everything's running properly. Our Toledo just grew again. It hit the 120,000 mark. And it's still satisfying. So we haven't even hit that kind of phase 2 for Toledo. This is all kind of what you think of as phase 1. So phase 1, just a 2-city cluster. We don't even have connections to any other cities or anything. Will get us 120,000, and it will get us more than that actually. And look at this. We're almost at our 90,000 for Grand Rapids. And let's just look at this. We're at 67% right now. So what are we getting? We've got, look at the stock in the city. Look how strong this is. He's got strong stock. He's a little low on milk and veggies. He needs to go out and get some milk and veggies. But he's getting lumber that he's making himself. You start getting dairy here in a little bit from our buddies in Grand Rapids. And Grand Rapids will end up with, so he'll get even more satisfaction. There's plenty of milk there. Our lines here need to bring some milk back. The only other thing you would think about doing here is conceivably splitting the warehouse in 2 to get a even more steady supply, but I wouldn't advise that. I would advise doing this right here. This is just lovely. You don't even have to watch this. Imagine that we had gotten this set up in our game, and then we could just go. We could go off down here and build up Knoxville and Atlanta and not even worry about it. I mean, these cities are going to grow like crazy. There's Grand Rapids. We're going to put in a dairy farm in Grand Rapids. I don't know why they call it a dairy farm. It's not a farm. But anyway, now there we are. We've got Grand Rapids is over 90,000. 3 businesses, 2 of them we own. And now that we've got this milk, this dairy, you will see these trains that are coming back to Grand Rapids with the supplies. These guys right here will start picking up milk, because milk will be a higher priority. Now he's going to make a liar out of me and take wheat and corn because it's all they can do to keep up. What's he going to do? See, they're having a hard time just keeping up with what they've got. What's he going to do? Wow, it's all they can do to keep up. Unbelievable. It's all they can do to keep the wheat in there. Do we have any milk? We've got no milk and we're still growing. Unbelievable. Eventually we'll get milk. Won't we? You will give us milk, won't you? Wow, we've hit a... Yeah, this is interesting. I'm learning something. Where are we? Oh, look at this. We're at 154,000. We're still growing, and all we've got is a 2-city cluster and 1 warehouse. That's it. So he's getting 8 different raw materials. We can start pumping fruit in here into our system, by the way, and help them both. And we're still not even getting milk because these guys, it's all they can do to keep the logs and corn and look at that. Wheat, corn, and logs. Are you going to take... So we still haven't gotten any milk. And we're still growing, even though our dairy business isn't getting anything. We could even, if we wanted to control that, one thing we could do is take this train right here, look at his, no, it's too late for him. Look at this guy right here, take his load and say, from the warehouse, your priority is milk. Now let's see what he does. Now look at that, he's getting milk. So we have that one train set for priority milk. That way we make sure we're going to get some milk in here on a timely basis so that our dairy business can start making some money and shipping the dairy to Toledo, which will help Toledo continue to grow. It doesn't need much help, but couldn't hurt. And look at all this. Watch this money just click in as we sit here. That's the way you like to see it. So he's going to go back to the warehouse and he'll probably grab some more milk. He's next in line, so once this other guy gets out of the way. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. So that might be a manipulation or a micromanagement you might need to do. You might have to look over here. We're getting plenty of logs. We're getting tons of cotton. We're actually a little low on the meat. How many trains are we running? They're making great money. Let's just run another one. And we got plenty of room to run more if we want to. All right, Grand Rapids is at 128,000. And again, I mean, we haven't done anything else. We haven't even touched another city, and we've grown these things to over 120,000 each. We've done very, very little in terms of what we've had to do. Now, you can see right here, waiting. This means we've saturated our system with veggies. So that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing in the sense, see, we're at 94. There's not enough room for 8 to go in there. We told it to run full. So it's not going to run until some veggies go out here so to our city start using them. So what can we do with that? Well, one of the things we could do very easily is start running to another warehouse where we're going to build another 2-city cluster. All right? Wouldn't that be easy? We could say, okay, we got enough veggies. Run veggies somewhere else. Run. How are we doing on other stuff? We could run logs to another place. We could run sugar to another place. We could run milk to another place. The wheat is harder to keep up with. The wheat, we're using the wheat pretty well, and the corn a little bit. But notice too, by the way, this is cleared out now. It's not the big mess we had before. That was totally my fault. Really bad building there. I got that all screwed up on the lines. I had it where trains were going up here and then blocking everybody. But we got that straightened out, and now look at how nicely it's flowing, and that's why these numbers are picking up. We can't spend it as fast as we're making it, so to speak. So this is the point where you might think about, it's possible to move goods from warehouse to warehouse, but that's kind of tricky. But we don't need to go there. We can just start pumping these. We've got these nice lines going. We would just turn them around and say, okay, fill out a warehouse over here, and let's build a 2-city cluster with Indianapolis and Louisville. The next thing you know, in a couple of years, Indianapolis and Louisville would both be giant cities like this one is. Look at this. That's a nice city. For 1832, that's quite a city. That would be, what's that population? 200,000. That would be the second largest city. Oh, by far the second largest city. It would probably 1832. It might even rival New York. New York was about 550 in 1850, and Baltimore was, I think, 219 in 1850. I looked them up because I was curious. So this is about Baltimore's size 20 years earlier, 18 years earlier. So pretty good. Again, that's not a problem. That just means that we're through with veggies. It would be a great time to start pumping it somewhere else. So let's wrap this up. That's the ideal scenario, I think, for using a warehouse, feeding a 2-city cluster, and watching 2 cities just, look at this, go nuts. And look at that. He's still growing. He's still getting enough satisfaction just from this. So this 2-city cluster can easily, look at this, 232,000 people, and all we've got is a 2-city cluster. So they're getting 6 manufactured goods, and they're getting, in the case of Toledo, he's getting 1, 2, and 6. He's getting 8 raw materials and 6 manufactured goods, and that's all he needs to grow all the way up to. He's just about probably going to hit the limit around here somewhere, around 240. But he could get 240,000 people there with just this setup. All right, let's wrap it up right there. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Railway Empire video. Thank you.